This video is really just about staying positive and the effects of quarantine and getting through it, really, because 14 days stuck in a relatively small room, and I know mine's bigger than a lot of people's, but still, being by yourself for this amount of time does take its toll. And I think the key thing for me in getting to this point, I know I've still got 7 days, so I might feel differently next week, but certainly getting through to this point relatively positively has been the preparation that went into the trip beforehand. And so that was bringing things out like the coffees, the treats, the things to make myself feel better and to keep me busy as well. And I think really that's what this video is about, the things that I've used to keep myself busy and help the time pass. And I've found that this week, certainly, mostly what I've been thinking about is needing more time in the day to get the things done that I wanted to get done, which I think for me works really well. And I would rather be looking at needing more time than hanging around and not knowing what to do with my time. I find that harder to cope with. So I think that was very important for myself when I was doing my preparation for the trip, to make sure that I had enough to occupy me and to keep myself busy. And really, these are the things that have helped me to do that. So what the difficulties are with quarantine is that it's potentially 14 days that you know about to start with. However, depending on where you're going to next, particularly in China, that could turn into 21 days. Or you could leave after the 14 days, go to another hotel for 2 days in the province you're going to, and then do another 7 days. So there's lots of unknowns there. And I think the biggest issue with dealing with quarantine and coping is the unknowns. And there's a lot that isn't under your control, and you have to be okay with that. So not knowing the location was difficult, because as soon as you get to the bus, you're just taken on a drive to a hotel. You're not told where it is or where you're going. You don't know, obviously, the hotel, and you don't know what the rules will be either. So they can be different depending on which hotel you're going to. So some hotels are allowing you to order in, some aren't. Some will let you order certain things. So all of those unknowns just really exacerbate the situation and make things difficult. And that really comes down to autonomy, competency, and connectedness. And those are the three things that I was focusing on when I came out. So really, it was about planning and making sure I had all of those things sorted. So the first thing was to make sure each day there's something I can control. And for me, that's how I'm spending my time and breaking my day up, because I'm in control of that. And that helps me to really get through and plan out what I'm going to do and know that I'm making those choices. And I think having those choices is fantastic for me. So one of the big things I did before I came out was I started a master's, which is online, and having that big project, having that stuff to do and those timelines, and also engaging with a group that is outside of my family and friends has been really, really helpful. And one of the things that I've wanted more time for is to complete this course and actually get through it. So that's been fantastic and really helped me get through up to this point as well. The other thing that's been really important is engaging in movement, whether it was the running backwards and forwards. I've done a couple of 10Ks so far. I'm pretty sure that carpet is going to be getting worn out. So I've been using running, and I'm a keen runner outside, and I've never run indoors before. Obviously, I am now. So a couple of 10Ks, 7Ks. So I'm quite pleased with what I've been doing there. Some of the other stuff that I was doing, I've been doing some of the yoga. Obviously, since I've had the vaccine, I've developed some abilities, and this is real time. So yeah, I'm moving quite a lot faster since I've had the vaccine. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. So a bit of yoga, a bit of running, and I bought, when I was coming out here, some of the resistance bands, and they've been fantastic. Really lightweight, really easy to pack because they don't take up a lot of space. You get a little bag to put them in, and I've really helped to keep some sort of exercise routine and keep the mind busy and doing something different rather than having to do the running every day. And then the other thing I was doing was just using what was around the room to try and engage in other parts of exercise. So just, doing some push-ups and trying to keep things busy that way as well. Um, the carpet isn't the cleanest, so I do like to try and get off the carpet as much as possible. But there we go. So lots of different types of exercise. The other thing, engaging in something creative. Obviously, I've been engaging in YouTube. That's been a steep learning curve. The videos, I hope you think they're getting better. I do. I'm adding more to them and getting better at presenting them. And as I go through, hopefully they just get better and better. And it is something that I don't think will be just for quarantine. I am thinking it is something I will continue after this as well, because I'm enjoying it now. Finding humor in each day, trying to find something funny about, whether that's through talking to family and friends or watching movies. Um, we'll we'll see. There's quite a few movies on the TV that we've got. There are lots of channels that you have to go through first, though, to try and get to some of the English channels. And some of the movies are awful. Some of them are awful on purpose, like Sharknado, but definitely good for a laugh. The other next thing, asking for help, definitely hugely important. Having a support network, and again, before I came out, that's something I put in place. And so I've got people back at home to be in contact with. And also the use of WeChat. There are so many different groups on there and so many different people who are just really eager and happy to help. And that's been fantastic, asking questions about the next steps and helping me to plan for when I do leave quarantine and helping that to go as smoothly as possible. So again, really, really good stuff there. The other thing, just making sure, taking it by moment, breaking things up. To think about 14 days in one room, it's too big of a block of time to be thinking about in one go. So really, it's for me, what task is next? What task is next? So I'll get my breakfast done, then I'll do some yoga, then I'll do. So it's really just trying to live more in the moment than thinking constantly about how long's left. That isn't something that I've done, and I've tried to keep myself from thinking that or ticking off the times it goes by. I've obviously put on the videos what day it is, but it's not something that I'm focusing on the whole time, because I know uh, that would make the time seem to go a lot less quickly. Certainly for me, it would. And again, it is temporary. It will be finished. And once things are over, what you've been through isn't as bad as when you're going through it. Certainly for me, it isn't anyway. And I know that by the time I get to the end of this, it will be an experience. It will be something that hopefully I will have taken away something from. And that'll be the new skills, the stuff that I've learned on YouTube, which I'm going to be open to use in my teaching, and the exercising, which is helping me to make a change in my health and fitness, which is something I've wanted for a while. Due to lockdown and stress and planning to come over to China, my exercise routine it was lacking. Significantly lacking, considering that I used to run and do quite a lot of stuff. So I'm glad to have had this time to put things in place and certainly get myself back to a much fitter state. I'm really happy with where I'm at, and another week to go. So hopefully by the time this is finished, I'll be ready for looking at planning at least half marathon training, certainly 10K and above. That's my goal, at least anyway. Okay, so what does my day look like? Well, in the morning, first thing, because of time differences, so while I'm waking up, contacting family, talking to people back in the UK, and then about 7:30, breakfast comes, do a little bit of yoga, then I crack on with my masters for an hour or so, and then get on to doing some YouTube, either recording videos or getting material ready. So that takes us up to the afternoon. Normally about the afternoons when I'll have my run. and then get into some lunch. And I've been using the Quaker's Oats for that, mixing 2 packets of them, which is working out okay. I've got a little bit of sugar to add if I want to treat myself or make it taste a little bit differently. Then again, a little bit of Masters, get back in onto WeChat, which come that time, there's a lot of people here in China for me to talk to about how we cope with the next steps and what are the processes. Certainly, there's a lot of apps that need to be downloaded for the health checks to make sure that you're able to get onto the planes and the buses or the trains, depending on what it is that you're going to be using to get on to where you're going next, which isn't as straightforward and simple as it should be. And people watching, I've got a fantastic window with all sorts of stuff going on outside because of the location that we're in. And having it being a theme park, I was just videoing before a couple of people walking past with llamas on leads. So taking a couple of llamas or alpacas maybe out for a walk. So there's a lot outside my window to be looking. I know not everybody's that fortunate, but it is something that I'm spending quite a bit of time doing. And that's helping to pass the time as well. So getting into the evening, just taking things down really. So I've got my Kindle that I bought out. Now I've got this on Facebook Marketplace. It's a Paperwhite version, and just I loaded up a bunch of stuff on there. So that's quite nice to sit in my zebra chair here by my window and have a bit of a read. So I've loaded up quite a few things on there. Some of it's just for fun, and other parts of it are for my course, depending on what I feel like reading. And then the TV and movies, obviously, like I said, I think it's 475 pages of channels to go through. So flicking through that takes, again, quite a bit of time. But when things take time now, I'm not stressing about that. That's a good thing, because it's moving forward. It's getting things done. And any time that's used up, any time that goes, is closer to the goal of moving, closer to the goal of leaving. And then that leaves us up really to about this time of day, sort of about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, when again, because of time differences, it's a good time to be calling the UK for when people are getting up for breakfast, so I can still keep in contact and keep those routines that I used to have back there as well, which is really keeping those connections. So for me, those are all of the things that are working. Yesterday, I found a little bit tricky. I was finding myself thinking things and thinking about stuff, how long I had left. I think it just got to me a little bit how long I'd been here. But by lunchtime, I had a talk with a few people, and then I had a run, is what really changed things. I was just sitting around and really just couldn't get myself motivated. So I figured rather than wasting time, I'd go for a run. And at least, if nothing else, I would be getting fitter and healthier. And by the time I finished that, I got a bit of my motivation back and was back on track. So that really helped me. And so really that's what all this video is about. It is going to be difficult, but I think if you try and consider what it's going to be like before you engage in being locked down, then hopefully you'll have enough resources with you to keep you busy and to keep you going in whichever way that you goes. I mean, I know my strategy is quite active and there's a lot involved there, and a lot of people maybe want to just relax, and it depends on what works for you, and this is just what works for me. So I hope you've enjoyed that video. It's a lot longer than I was expecting, but thanks for watching.